If you've seen Girls, you obviously know who Hannah Horvath is, the main character of the show, who is played by the show's creator, Lena Dunham. In the show, Hannah wants to be an extremely successful writer. She studied writing at Oberlin College, but her autobiographical works never really made it far. They only led her to corporate writing jobs like at GQ or to the Iowa Writers' Workshop, where she was mostly criticized. In contrast, Lena Dunham found great success with the show Girls and with previous films like Tiny Furniture. I think Lena Dunham is an excellent actress who captures Hannah's truth so well that I'm certain I've met Hannah before. Or maybe it seems like Hannah is a part of who I am. Or like someone I've dated. She is real and vulnerable and bold and weak and strong and as complex as a character can be. Recently, I rewatched the show Girls for the third time, and something stood out to me in episode 9 of season 5 called Love Stories. Hannah runs into an old classmate from Oberlin named Tally Schifrin, played by Jenny Slate. Tally is the one girl from her college who really succeeded as a writer in the way all of her other classmates, including Hannah, dreamt of. She describes how unfulfilled she is, and Hannah watches with tears welling in her eyes. To me, those tears look different than Hannah's tears. They look like they're stemming from Lena herself and not her character. In this moment, Lena hears something that resonates so strongly with who she really is that she's not able to conjure up Hannah. This is conjecture, of course, but the idea that Lena Dunham was being affected by her own show and her own words was meaningful to me as I watched it. There's a famous film and sound editor named Walter Murch who has a theory about editing and blinking. He says you should never cut on a blink because it feels strange, like getting a piece of dust in your eye. He said he likes to cut a frame before an actor blinks so he can gauge a reaction of the actor's unconscious reactions to their character. Many actors are in fact trained to hold the gaze without blinking to maintain intensity. I think about Denzel Washington and this clip from Malcolm X. I also think about how Emilia Clarke's acting changed throughout the series of Game of Thrones. If I can find it, there's this clip where she just doesn't blink at all in a later season. It seems that everyone knows good from bad acting. We give awards to the best performances. There's almost no universal metric to prove a person has become another person perfectly. All actors seem to have a different method to act. And then, I guess it comes into question, how did the person become who they are before they were able to make the choices for their character? Were they always acting? Or were they just existing? Was Shakespeare right when he said, "All the world's a stage in his play as you like it"? And why did Irving Gottman have to use that phrase to write a book called The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, which created the sociological idea of dramaturgy, suggesting that everyday social interactions are performative? What if we took a movie and didn't watch the performance as a whole, and instead we evaluated what was done in each individual cut? The question becomes, does a performance exist without a narrative? Does a character exist without a story? Without a framework of time, how can a human make sense of their life? I guess I get caught up in this whole rabbit hole of identity and existence and acting and performance and who we are, but then I have to think about Charlie Chaplin and his tramp character. I don't think Charlie Chaplin was using that therapeutically to understand himself. I think he wanted to entertain people. And so if he's just trying to entertain people, and it's not for himself, then it's for the audience, maybe he's showing them something more than making them laugh. Maybe he's showing them what the working class was in America at that time, or a parody of it, and by a parody of it, maybe a reflection of it. So does that mean that art isn't just a mirror for the artist to look at themselves? It can be a mirror for the viewer or the reader or the listener to look into and see who they are too. I guess that brings me back to the beginning with Girls. Maybe I'm conning myself when I focus so much on Lena Dunham creating for herself in episode 9 of season 5 of Girls, the episode called Love Stories. Maybe Jenny Slate's character, Tally Schifrin, isn't just talking to Lena in that moment, or Hannah either. Maybe that glaze of tears I see in Lena or Hannah's eyes is a mirror for me to look into too. Because as I think about my life right now, I am in the midst of releasing my first feature, Sydney, on YouTube, while I watch my peers release their films in theaters. But I'm happy with my work. And I love that it's weird and unique and part of me. Just like I think how Hannah sees her own work in Girls. This whole time I thought that Lena Dunham was just using Girls as a therapeutic way of expressing herself to understand herself. But maybe she created it for more than that. Maybe it's for me to see myself too. And maybe you, whoever you are, when you're sitting down to watch it.